financially mostly, from what I see. 'Cause, you know, it's all about, everyone wants to be a big shot, but they gotta pay the price. You know, they have to know how to handle defeat.
If I'm not mistaken, a 92-pound weight difference, almost a 100-pound weight difference. It's insane. Let's say he comes in at 200 pounds. It's still a 65-pound weight advantage, which is absolutely ridiculous.
Into that.
I don't know what's going to happen with a 135-pounder going up against a 200-pounder. I think it's not a real...
Mike Tyson didn't hold back when responding to Jake Paul's latest bold claim about beating Gervonta Tank Davis. Known for his brutal honesty as much as his devastating punches, the former heavyweight champion ripped into Paul, making it clear that facing a pound-for-pound star like Davis is no laughing matter. While Tyson has, at times, shown support for Jake's transition from YouTuber to boxer, this time he drew a clear line between hype and reality. He emphasized that stepping into the ring with someone of Davis's caliber, an elite...
Quite surprised because it sounded like Jake Paul and Joshua was getting closer and closer for January. However, there have been rumours of Gervonta Davis versus Jake Paul in the past. I think with Gervonta Davis's kind of legal problems in the last month or so and rumours about his retirement, I don't think it's a massive shock that he's taking this Jake Paul fight if it is going to go ahead, purely for the reason that it's a lot of money for maybe not the most difficult job that he's going to have in his career. So it's a strange one, but yeah, it's just another kind of day in the sport, really, isn't it? Yeah.
The highly anticipated matchup between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis is now set for November 14th at the Casa Center in Miami, Florida. Originally planned for Atlanta, the fight was relocated after the Georgia Athletic and Entertainment Commission raised concerns.
Oh my days. Jake Paul versus Tank Davis. Is this real? This can't be real. Because he was talking about fighting Joshua, which is heavyweight, and now he's saying about fighting Tank. Nah, this can't be. It's Netflix as well. I need to go and do some checks and see if like the main pages have posted this, but Jake Paul's posted it. It says Friday, November 14th. It's in Atlanta, State Farm Arena. This is random, no?
Jake Paul comes into the fight with a record of 12 wins, including 7 by knockout, and just 1 loss. Building on his influencer fame, he has managed to carve out a legitimate boxing career through high-profile...
People are like so fucking insecure. Kind of lost myself in the whole entertainment world, and so when I found boxing, it gave me that like routine, that discipline. I got to like take myself in these boxing camps, and every day for training I had to like meditate, and boxing gave me the ability to like reflect on myself and like realizing who I was and who I wanted to be, and that helped me mature. You get addicted to that validation from others that I realized that I had to face. And like, why do so many people want clout? I'm not good enough. I need followers. I need likes. It's driving a lot of our generation because they're working so hard to get this external validation.
Gervonta Davis remains undefeated with 30 wins, 1 draw, and numerous knockouts to his name. He currently holds the WBA lightweight title, though it won't be at stake in this fight due to the significant size difference between the two men. Instead, the bout is being billed as an exhibition, meaning many of the usual professional boxing formalities, such as rounds, weight limits, and
25 is at the next year. I'm out of it.
After our second fight. You're out of it?
Yeah.
Wait on that. Care to elaborate? After our second fight. Nah, no, I'm gonna win, bro.
Nah, I could tell you my fights.
Who do you think will win between Jake Paul and Gervonta?
But I don't know. It should be Gervonta, right? But the weight size and everything, we'll see. It's a fun entertainment.
Mike Tyson, who has already shared the ring with Jake Paul, has reportedly urged caution as Paul prepares to face Gervonta Davis. Having experienced firsthand the pressure and intensity of fighting Paul, Tyson also recognizes the serious dangers of stepping in with a fighter as skilled and explosive as Davis. While Paul holds advantages in size and youth, Tyson warns that Davis's speed, technical skill, and knockout power make him a threat regardless of the weight difference. His caution suggests concern that Paul may be underestimating just how dangerous Davis truly is.
I think Gervonta Davis is probably the greatest fighter around now, but he's got a tough fight coming up. You know, he's the top dog. There's no doubt about it. He showed that. But Berrios is a pretty good fighter. Last time I saw him fight, he was pretty durable.
Eddie Hearn has voiced serious concerns about Jake Paul's upcoming fight with Gervonta Davis, arguing that it goes beyond being just a spectacle. He warns the matchup could be dangerously uneven in terms of size, risk, and safety, with Paul potentially facing real physical damage. While acknowledging the massive financial draw and public interest, Hearn believes the mismatch could derail Paul's future plans, including a potential fight with Anthony Joshua. He admits the commercial appeal is undeniable but stresses that the dangers are too real to overlook. Though he gives the fight a 50-50 chance, Hearn's message is clear: Jake Paul is risking far more than his record, his health.
We know that Gervonta is going to fight Jake Paul in November, and then we'll see what happens if there's an AJ fight. It'd be interesting to go from Gervonta Davis to Anthony Joshua, but I don't think the Chavez fight is terrible. I think it's a smart bit of business.
I think it's extremely dangerous for Jake Paul. You know, I've got the general feedback is the boxing world saying, please AJ, go in and evaporate this young man from the boxing world so we can all get on as normal. You've got Jake Paul fans thinking bizarrely like Anthony Joshua. And the most bizarre thing out of everything is that Jake Paul genuinely believes he will beat Anthony Joshua. I think that's the only reason we're going to see this fight. But I truly believe you're going to see it at the beginning of 2026.
Former super middleweight world champion Carl Froch has raised major safety concerns over the Jake Paul vs. Gervonta Davis exhibition, pointing to an estimated 65-pound weight difference between the two. He highlighted that Paul has recently been fighting near the cruiserweight limit of around 200 pounds, while Davis...
I don't really take Jake Paul that serious. He can't really box. He can have a little fight, he can have a swing. He swings away, stands up straight, and he throws punches. Professional boxing. Because when I watch him box, he does so much wrong. It's just everything's wrong. It's so bad. He's got leaky defence. He telegraphs his punches. Like, you put him in with someone his own size. It was a professional, and it's a mismatch. You'll see that if he ends up fighting somebody. Tommy Fury, bless him, he's a pro boxer, but he's inexperienced. He's got no amateur pedigree. He's a raw novice, or maybe just above the raw novice. I was saying earlier, where would I put him into levels? He'd do well to win a British title. He's at that sort of level, and then from British title to world level, it's like different worlds. It's like totally different. It's like a different sport.
Carl Froch argued that in the real boxing world, a matchup like Jake Paul vs. Gervonta Davis would never be licensed due to the extreme risk. He emphasized that Davis has never faced an opponent with Paul's size and mass, warning that even a single heavy punch, especially one throw...
My name was mentioned at his press conference and he shit himself, and the fight was just absolutely fucking diabolical. Again, I've said before, he's not a professional boxer, he never will be, and he proved time and time again that he's not a professional fighter. So, Jake Paul, go on, piss off.
Meanwhile, Chael Sonnen takes a different view, arguing that the Jake Paul vs. Gervonta Davis matchup isn't as mismatched as many believe. Speaking on his YouTube channel, he said, "It's not as bad a fight."
Just here at Los Naranjos in Viva, España, and I found out that Gervonta Davis is now fighting Jake Paul. So Jake Paul was supposed to be fighting AJ. Eddie Hearn announced 99% done, which we've just spoke about. What next for AJ? Potentially Jake Paul. But it now looks like that Jake Paul is fighting one of Anthony Joshua's legs. He's fighting Gervonta Davis, somebody who's a quarter of his size. I don't even know what's going on. Has Eddie Hearn been played? Let me know what you think. But the AJ fight with Jake Paul's finished. Gervonta Davis, fake Paul, November. I don't know what's going on in the world of boxing. This is an absolute joke. What next for AJ? We'll get into this, and there's so many questions I want to get into in the next episode, but hope you enjoyed this one. And yeah, I just thought I'd give you a quick update because the news has just come in. Just trying to relax and play a bit of golf, and I can't. I've got to get it off my chest. I'm going to add it to this video. Hope you enjoy it. Don't forget, if you haven't already, hit like, share and subscribe to the best channel in the business, Froch on Fighting, and we'll see you very soon.
Speculation is rapidly building that Jake Paul could potentially face former unified heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua in a blockbuster showdown as early as 2026. What once seemed like an outlandish idea is now gaining traction, especially after Paul's manager, Nakisa Bidarian, confirmed that preliminary discussions are already underway. Talks reportedly include some of the biggest venues in the world, with iconic locations like
The exact opposite has happened. The opposite of fighting Anthony Joshua is not fighting nobody. The opposite of fighting Anthony Joshua is fighting Tank Davis. Okay. So, there's one big glaring issue for me. It's just your partner being Tank Davis. Tank is not the guy that knows how to sell a fight. Tank cannot sell a fight in his own division. It could be a title fight, a contenders fight, a main event fight. He could be the favorite. He could be the underdog. Tank doesn't know how to bring that information to you guys in a way that is compelling. And Tank is already blinking in this situation. You have one guy who is argued amongst the pound for pound current greats in boxing. You have another guy that is suggested not even be allowed to box, that he should have to call it something different. He should not be licensed. He should not be ranked in the top 14. He should never be selected for a world title. Okay.
Joshua's promoter, Eddie Hearn, has shown interest in the potential matchup, noting it could deliver enormous attention and financial reward. Critics, however, caution that Joshua risks tarnishing his legacy by facing Paul, who many still regard more as an entertainer than a legitimate contender. In the meantime, Paul is capitalizing on the rumors to build momentum, steadily positioning himself as an...
If Jake Paul wasn't Jake Paul, if he wasn't this YouTube guy,
Right.
he was just a boxer, and you see a boxer knock out the former UFC welterweight champion, not just the former, but one of the best ever, knock him out with one punch like that, like, oh man, have you seen this Jake Paul dude coming up? He's fucking for real. Because nothing about watching him fight, to me, screams like he's in over his head. Nothing. He looks like a real boxer.
Stephen A. Smith has frequently criticized Jake Paul's choice of opponents, arguing that most haven't been active, high-level boxers or were already past their prime. He maintains that Paul has yet to prove himself against the true elite of the sport. Paul, however, has pushed back, insisting he tried to arrange a fight with Tommy Fury, who initially declined his offers. When the fight finally happened in
Jake Paul, you've lost your mind if you think you can go toe-to-toe with Anthony Joshua. Listen, let's not get confused, guys. Let's not get confused. Yes, cool. Anthony, he took a big L with Daniel Dubois. But Dubois is not no joke, bro. It's not a joke. You know what I'm trying to say? He took a L there, but Jake Paul, I've got the utmost respect of what he's done, how he's managed to navigate through the boxing world. Like, bro, it's so mad. And I can see this is like a 90% in his position in his marketing already. Like, why would you see Jake Paul go face to face with Alexander Usyk if it's not to position for a fight for Saudi? Obviously, Jake Paul's gonna fight Anthony Joshua. There's possibly gonna be a Usyk against Tyson Fury 3, because obviously the last two were so close. But you never know. It can also be a Usyk against Derek Chisora. Do you know what I mean? You never know.
Stephen A. Smith has openly criticized Jake Paul for his controversial decision to fight boxing legend Mike Tyson, calling it a move driven more by spectacle than true sporting ambition. According to Smith, if Paul genuinely wants to be taken seriously as a professional boxer, he should be stepping into the ring with opponents who are...
Everyone's been wanting to see it happen. Who will be the king of the United Kingdom? And who will be the queen of the United... Too soon? I'm praying that boxing doesn't happen to this fight, and what I mean by that is politics, people trying to take more money than they deserve. Fuck the money, get in there, make fuck one of the biggest fights that could happen over this past decade. Make it fucking happen, Eddie Hearn. Make it fucking happen, Frank Warren. Make it happen, Tyson. Make it happen, Anthony Joshua. We don't need fucking excuses. Don't let boxing ruin this fight. Get in the fucking ring and fight like men.
Buddy McGirt's analysis perfectly captured the essence of Terrence Crawford's brilliance in the ring. He highlighted how Crawford controlled every facet of the bout, dictating the pace, managing the distance, and dominating the exchanges from the opening bell to the final moment. Unlike many of Canelo's previous opponents who often fell into his traps and allowed him to dictate the rhythm.
Let's talk about AJ ever so quickly. I watched Jake Paul the weekend. I feel a bit dirty saying that because I'm not a fan of his, but he did say after the fight that he's sort of having DMs or he's dropping text messages to AJ. They're having a chat about a potential fight. What's your view on that, Eddie?
Well, look, he's calling out Gervonta Davis, who is a 135-pound lightweight, and he's calling out Anthony Joshua, that's a heavyweight monster. I think Jake Paul is crazy enough to fight Anthony Joshua because the money would be absolutely obscene. It's a catastrophic mismatch that people would tune in to watch because it would lead to the end of Jake Paul. Hopefully not literally, but it's that dangerous that, you know, it's a fight that I don't think should really happen, if I'm honest. I would say about Jake Paul, and I've said this in a couple of interviews today, I do think you start after giving him a margin of respect. You know, I think this guy is going through the motions, he's putting the hard spars in. He just went 10 rounds with, yes, a washed up fighter, but a former world champion that did train for that fight, but they're very clever in terms of the opponents that they pick. They're not going to gamble unless the money's out of control. And it wouldn't surprise me if Jake Paul, wanted to move forward with an Anthony Joshua fight. Honestly, AJ's coming tonight. He's not exactly looking at Jake Paul going, oh, that's my dream opponent. No. Would he go in there and give him a hiding for, you know, a massive chunk of money? Probably. I'd be saying, yeah, go on. I'd like to see it.
Stephen A. Smith has openly criticized Jake Paul for his controversial decision to fight boxing legend Mike Tyson, calling it a move driven more by spectacle than true sporting ambition. According to Smith, if Paul genuinely wants to be taken seriously as a professional boxer, he should be stepping into the ring with opponents who are closer to his own age, physical prime, and skill level, not targeting seasoned veterans who are decades older and far past their peak. Smith argued that while Tyson's name carries immense weight in boxing history, the reality is that the former heavyweight champion is no longer an active competitor in his prime.
You are beating up on dudes who don't box. They're not boxers.
I was on Disney Channel while these guys were winning UFC championships.
Okay.
You know, I was playing with Mickey Mouse while these guys were throwing arm bars and winning UFC championships. Everyone's, you know, analyzing my career, critiquing it, paying attention to it from day one. You can't tell me who was Mike Tyson's first fight. You can't tell me who Muhammad Ali, who was his fourth fight. No one knows, but everyone's seen all of my fights. I tried to fight Tommy Fury. Yeah, I tried to fight Tommy Fury, and he backed out due to a rib injury. Undefeated, young Beck. He comes from the Fury family. You know, his brother's the heavyweight champion of the world. I tried to fight him, and he got scared.
Smith.
Will Jake Paul's power and size be enough to overcome Gervonta Tank Davis, or will Tank's elite skill and ring IQ silence the hype once and for all? That's the burning question stirring debate across the boxing world. On paper,
by the hype at this particular moment in time. Now, I'll give Jake Paul credit for this. At least he's in the ring with a boxer. But 57 years old is 57 years old. And 57 years old and formally walking into a UFC fight as an audience member, as a patient with a cane, it's hard to believe a year later that you're going to be in any condition to really, really fight. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't. And if you're Jake Paul, here's what I want to say to you. It's Mike Tyson, that's fine. It's a money fight, I get you, and you want to make money. But at some point in time, if you keep telling us that you're taking boxing seriously and you want to be recognized as a big-time boxer / fighter, you're going to have to fight somebody closer to your age, who is a contender at the very least in the sport and with it every single day. Could you please get in the ring with somebody? Pretty please with sugar on top. I'm interested.
What did you think about the fight, Jake Paul?
I hate it.
And Jake Paul's starting to piss me off. Mike Tyson is 57 years old, man. Jake Paul been training with professional boxing trainers for years. He takes the sport very seriously.
Thank you. So let me ask you, that's the question I have, because great kid, great businessman, by the way, amazing. And I know how he does all this, the character and the persona. We keep saying that he doesn't want to be a boxer. He's not a boxer, but then
Jake Paul is a boxer.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my point.
Exactly. He's a boxer.
He can fight. I respect it. So go in there against fighters. You should be climbing the ladder towards those other fighters and taking the sport seriously to the point where you're fighting actual boxers. Now he decides to fight a fighter, a real fighter, which is Tyson. But Tyson is 30 years older. Stop this nonsense of going against dudes that either ain't boxing or is 25 years removed from the sport.